But I have to, gosh dang it. Well, how do I get to that? Go live in my live stream studio over here, maybe? Do, 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, are we streaming right now? Do 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 do. Oh, we have been live for 24 seconds. Welcome to the show, everybody. That was me. That's what I look like when I don't think that anybody's watching me. That's exactly how it goes every single time, almost on par. Some kind of classical music that I'm humming like a moron. And that's what happens. There you go. Welcome. This is my first time doing a live stream with this setup in 2 years, I want to say. I really wanted to have the good, cool look that I get to do through OBS. So anyway, none of that's important. We're here live now. These triplebtv live interviews or streams, they're going to be live for the foreseeable future. Since we're having a kid pretty soon, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to get to shows and whatnot. I just wanted to make sure I can still keep these talks going with folks, and we've already got super chats jumping in. Thank you, Derek. Thanks. Yeah, and as the title suggests, my idea was to discuss some of the drama that seems to permeate our industry, and I'm just seeing the permeating seems the entire world. It's just a thing. Like we need drama for some reason. It seems like every community, every industry out there, it's there, and I don't really like it. I mean, I say that, but I almost am also like interested in it. I'm like, why is this happening? And it interests me. Like, what's this about? Why is this so dramatic here? And so it's a topic that interests me and that I wanted to talk about, and we will discuss that as soon as we bring on our guest. But I want to let you guys know that after we're done with this stream, which will be 30 minutes, there'll always be 30 minutes. We will have our Patreon Zoom call that we always do every week, immediately following the stream with our guest into the Patreon Zoom call. So we're going to be doing that every week because we've been doing that every week for a long time now. I just realized I didn't put intro music in yet. Dang it. It's all good. It's all good. We're going to get this thing together after a couple of tries, but we do have actual intro music. I just mean there should be music playing underneath while I'm talking right now. Don't you think? Just a little like Janet, the little heavy metal riff I recorded however many years ago. Janet. Oh well. You're watching Triple B TV. Yeah, that's how I wanted it to work. It's great. All right, let's bring in our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Garrett Hartle. There he is. He's smiling. And hopefully he doesn't stay frozen like that with his face. Garrett, can you hear us? Can we hear you?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, sweet. You moved. Yeah, you moved all of a sudden. I got nervous for a second. I just saw your face like...
Am I moving now?
You're moving slowly but surely, but you are moving you're moving a little bit. We can hear you. Let me confer with this is the other reason I wanted to start doing these live again. I get really excited to interact with all the folks that watch. So we got a bunch of folks in the live chat. JMH, Reptiles, Golems, DMs, Amy Bruner, Lauren Morales. Oh, you know Lauren. Bold Coast Exotics, Serpentine, Macomorph, Derek's Reptiles, Chris Sutton, St. Louis Mikey. So
I think you and I have a lot of crossover people because all the cool people like our channels. That's got to be what it is, right?
Oh, is that how it works? All right.
I think so. All the cool people are attracted to you and me.
I'm not going to try and argue too hard with you on that. Although my instinct is to just be more self-deprecating and a little more humble and human, especially around you.
Yeah. Well, I have a reputation for doing the other, so we'll just run with that. So. What's up?
Well, we gotta here. I wasn't gonna do live chats yet. We
are says get me in a put in a.
Oh, okay. You're reading the super chats too. Okay. Cool.
I just found it. Yeah, that's a good word, Derek. I'll consider the super chat a good word. So we'll have to find the time.
I was on his show the other day, actually, last week, and he's really good. He's way better than I am at interviewing people. He's very engaging with his questions. I think it'll be good. Anyway. So we were talking backstage for a second. When I had this idea, I had another guest lined up for today. Stuff fell through with him last night, which is okay. And then I was going to have Hillary come on and just talk with me about like reptile wife stuff. And then it just came to my head. It was like, well maybe we can get Garrett on. We'll talk about drama industry. I had no idea. All right, before we get into that stuff, how about we talk about some of the good stuff that happened at Tinley Park this
Yeah, well,
weekend?
I still am missing my voice because I just got back from Tinley. So raise your hand in the chat if you were at Tinley. I think it was a pretty sweet Tinley. Usually, March is kind of more subdued. It's a little bit more of like the local guys, and then October is like the big one. You know what I mean? But yeah, this time it was, I don't know, there was a really strong, awesome, and you guys can agree or disagree with me in the chat there. I'd love to hear what your take was on it, because I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff all weekend. But there was a really strong industry vibes. So it was really cool. I think all in a good way. There's always a little bit of drama in whatever different communities, and I heard a little bit of that here and there, but nothing like, crazy big deal or any of that. But honestly, I think a lot of people were really excited about, I don't know if you saw the update on the USARK thing, all those animal program bans that have been going, like getting copy pasted state to state to state to state.
Yep.
A lot of those things have been actually, we've made a lot of positive progress in many areas because of people listening to, like following the link on the videos and writing in and stuff. So that was really cool. Hanging out with Phil. He gave us a big update. So everyone's feeling really good about that. I think, for the last few months, everyone's like, what's 2023 going to be like? The economy wise, this, that, the other. I feel like at this show, people were starting to get over that. There was a lot of people buying money. Breeders were showing up in full force. There was amazing animals all over the show. So many cool animals. So all that stuff was really good. And then some of the best vibes, though, came from probably the worst news in the reptile industry right now, which I'm sure you can guess what that is. But yeah, all the stuff going on with Brian Barczyk. A lot of us care very much about him as a human being, and you know what I mean. I think he's done a really good job of just trying to elevate the industry, the hobby, himself, people in there. He's done a lot of good things, and so I'm sure all of you guys have heard of it right now. But he's battling some pretty gnarly cancer, prognosis or whatever. So scary stuff. So there was a lot going on about that. It was cool. Everybody was wearing I don't have mine on right now. I actually gave it to one of my kids. My kids have all been praying for him every night and stuff like that. So I brought them all the little bracelets that Mike Wilbanks was passing out at his table. So that was really cool. You see the little Brian Army purple bracelets everywhere. That was really awesome. And then USARK, you've been to things like this. They always do like side benefit stuff for people within the industry, which is awesome. Like it's a USARK auction. People are donating items to USARK. We all need USARK to help, continue fight our battles for us and stuff like that. But, a lot of times they take an aside. So Brian Potter got up and said a few things. He was fighting back a lot of tears, talking about Brian Barczyk.
Yeah, they've worked pretty closely together over the years.
Yeah. And it was really cool to see, for those of you guys that weren't at the auction. Well, they're still working together. The Animal Con thing, all that kind of stuff. So they had just a black one, a different color of the bracelet, and they bid it up, I think, to like,
$57,000.
Well, $15,000 was the winner of the bracelet, and then people just started adding to it. I'll add 5,000. I'll add 2,000. I'll add 1,000. I'll add 500. And yeah, it went up to I think it was 57,000. Then there was a couple other items, because I believe Phil told me it was like $63,000 that they raised for Brian, kind of like a legacy fund. It was really hard to hear publicly. I think a lot of us are pretty concerned about Brian, and I know that he's fighting a good fight, and we're all praying and hoping for him to pull through. But Potter said, I think we all know that this is kind of like a legacy fund for the Barczyk family, and that was just a harsh dose of reality. So it was really cool. A lot of people did a lot of cool stuff at the auction. was very moving. Yeah, it was. So that was great. It was a great auction for USARK as well, off the heels of a lot of, one thing too, people, I get the privilege of having been the, face of USARK for the last year or whatever on their YouTube channel. So I get to hear a lot of this stuff, which is awesome to me, just to stay updated on everything. But when we say like USARK won this battle, it really isn't that way. It's the people who actually click the link and write the letters win the battles. So there's different state, senators and stuff like that are reading letters from you guys that you're either taking inspiration from USARK, clicking through to the link and writing your own thing, whatever it is. But all of these state bans are just left and right getting tabled, shot down altogether, all the different things. They're just collapsing because of the response of the public. I think everybody thinks like Phil and some secret ninja team of lawyers are out there working around the clock to do this stuff. And it's not. Phil finds the stuff, writes the letters, puts up a fancy link, puts all the information up there. A lot of volunteers throw in time too, like how we volunteer doing the YouTube channel. Other people volunteer by, creating these lists and stuff like that. And then for you guys to click and write in, that's what brings about the victory. So it's really good to hear all that stuff. So yeah, I know I was texting Barczyk. Here, I'll share a little screen thing from my thing here. So I was just driving home thinking about you. I told him I want to let you know how many people's hearts and minds you're on, but I texted him my little picture driving home. I thought that this would be kind of fun. I don't know if you can see. I figured that was a familiar scene to Barczyk, but there's like tubs of snakes and bags filling the car as I drive home. Yep. Wearing my little Brian Barczyk list there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's crazy. Anything else we talk about tonight, I think, is super secondary to that kind of stuff. That was the big stuff that happened this weekend.
Absolutely, very secondary to any that. I mean, yeah, the good stuff. That's the type of stuff I'd prefer to focus on is things like that. And it blows my mind when from that desire to do things. So there was just stuff for me that popped up, there's like that, the last video I put out, calling to prayer, there was a handful. There's always something. I'm always expecting, and I'm always okay with like a certain level of like people being, however, taking something a certain wrong way. And my thumbnail was kind of asshole, I guess. But it wasn't the intent, obviously. But then
I saw something about this. You did an uncut that was ill received by a few people.
Just by a few. Not. Most people understood what was happening there. It was almost like a kind of a nod to Brian and using the thumbnail in that way to like, pull in as many people as possible and put them out with some positive energy and vibes and prayers and stuff. And it did work in that way for the most part. I did get they didn't use my name, but I ended up being blasted on this atheist podcast, or this pretty large atheist platform, and just kind of went in on me for 10 minutes without saying my name, which was nice. But I still knew it didn't help because I still knew it was me. And here this guy just saying all these things about me from a space where I was trying to be as positive as possible, and just being in my own uncut way, which is, especially in those uncut videos, I like to make those because it's just raw and it's real. But I may say a thing that I might regret later. That certainly can happen because it's uncut. I don't have a chance to watch it back. I just put it out there. I've been doing it for years, so I'm okay with it. But it's just the idea that somebody would take like maybe one sentence that I said and just focus on that one sentence and use it to blow it up to this thing to like just attack my character and that type of drama. And that's the type of drama that happens. Like somebody finds something, oh, I don't like this about this person, and I'm gonna just like lay into they're the most horrible person on the planet, and we should all probably, ultimately probably kill them. That would probably be the best for everybody if we would just kill this person now they said this one thing.
Yeah. No, that's pretty wild. Yeah. So people want to kill you for saying something in your Brian Barczyk uncut video.
No, I was being extreme. I was being a little bit extreme. They were kind of quoting me. Well, not quoting me. They said all these things that they said that I said that I didn't say a single one of them. They just changed all my words around and said he said this and he said this and he said this. I was like, I didn't say any of that. I said literally none of that. But so I just changed it a little bit. Nobody said they wanted to kill me. At least not out loud.
That's good. How's Hillary doing? You said she was almost on the podcast. I guess that means she's not having a baby right now as we speak.
Not having a baby right now as we speak. Yeah, that was going to be one of the thing. Well, that's one of the reasons I'm doing these live now too, is because I don't know exactly how many shows. You just have to play it by ear. Once the baby comes, I mean, you got 4 kids, so you know. Oh, wait, do you have 5 now? No, you got 4.
No, I've got 4. You're catching up quick. You're closing the lead.
Yeah, so I don't know how many shows I'm going to get to and how many in-person interviews I'm going to do, and this will just give a little more access to folks that I can't sit down with in the moment, like you. Like, I'd love to be sitting with you in person right now. This is as close as we can get, so I figured I'll take advantage of the fact that I may not be going anywhere too far, too much this year, and bring it back to the live streams and have access to all my friends that are not living anywhere near me, which is most of them in the industry especially.
Sure. Yeah. Well, honestly, I think a lot of the drama comes from the fact that, especially, if we're talking reptile industry specific drama, a lot of it actually does come from the fact that we all love animals very much and we want to represent them well, so you'll have some things that are like, I don't know, just like misunderstandings or stuff like that, especially when you talk about social media. You put something up there or whatever, and then it gets misunderstood, or I suppose someone could interpret it like your thumbnail. They might interpret that negatively, or somebody might interpret what you're doing with an animal or trying to say something negatively. We did a tarantula episode on Wild World TV on our vlog channel recently. And I didn't know this was a thing, but there's like a whole thing about you should never hold tarantulas. That's kind of like some people think in the tarantula hobby. I'm not tarantula keeper aside from one that I was recently given or something like that. And it's controversial. Not everybody believes that, but there are some very vocal people that feel like you should never hold a tarantula, just stuff like that. So I think that stuff can get spun violently negative quickly. But if you think about it, I don't even know why you wouldn't hold a tarantula, just because I'm ignorant to tarantulas. Like, I can see like tearing up their burrows and pulling them out would be bad. But just holding a tarantula, I don't know why that would be bad. However, I bet the people that take things like that negatively, it's because they care about tarantulas, right? Which is a good thing ultimately. So I think a lot of our reptile industry drama is because I'm caring about reptiles from my unique perspective in life, and you're caring about reptiles from your unique perspective in life. And we don't see eye to eye on a particular action because, like, maybe I'm saying like, well, it's good for me to have a trusting relationship with my snake. And you're saying, well, snakes should never be put in a position like that because they could bite somebody and things could go wrong, or whatever, the particular argument happens to be. But yeah, I think that stuff is good. The other side of it is, people in the world like to make things about either virtue signaling or whatever. But a lot of times it's like there'll be some like dirty ulterior business motive, or, it'll be an ego driven thing. Like, I don't like what you do because you look better than me and I want to be that guy, or, or whatever the case may be. Jealousy, backbiting, those kinds of things. That's the nasty drama that is in the industry. So, I like a little bit of drama. I do actually think, one of the things I've come to terms with, there's one particular person that has been just trashing me for years online. They're being particularly aggressive right now. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it in the industry, but he's gone for a lot of people in the industry. He's openly anti-USARK, hates, a lot of the bigger guy, Jay Brewer, Kevin McCurley, those kinds of guys. So in fact, when he was trashing me today, Kevin's gotten into him. He texted me. He's like, it looks like you've arrived because that guy must think you're big now, or whatever, like joking around about it. So just like jokingly encouraging me or whatever, because, he's been trashing us and all that stuff. I try to take the high road too, like as much as I can, and not address that stuff, no matter how much people say negatively about me, personally online and stuff. I never, do those kinds of like names things and stuff like that. And I won't do it tonight if that's what you were hoping for.
Nope, definitely not.
I don't know how many people watch Reach Out Reptiles, but you guys might have seen a live stream that I did last week, bringing up domestic violence. There was a whole dramatic thing about domestic violence online. It was outrageous. So we were trying to talk about a particular line of snakes, that were founded by a guy who has been out of the hobby for like a decade or something like that, but since then has been arrested for domestic violence. So because we mentioned that, that he was the founder of that line and kind of told the history of all that kind of stuff and how it got in, it got spun into Reach Out Rep by this one person that, Reach Out Reptile supports domestic violence, and that's obviously outrageous. No, I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But, so, and it got really ugly, and I usually don't say anything. This guy's been after me, like I said, forever. I usually just don't even, we actually literally have a who, what, when someone says, what about this guy? We say, that person who? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Staff's not allowed to talk about it or anything like that because they get easily pulled into the drama. They want to defend Reach Out Reptiles and what we do here and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, what started happening was the guy was, I don't know if he was joking or what he was trying to do, but he was sharing a lot of pictures of domestic violence abuse victims. And anyone that's a survivor of domestic violence knows that that is a highly traumatic and lifelong thing that you deal with. You know what I mean? It's like people I know have shared stuff like, I get scared every time I walk down a dark alley or, whatever because of this. And so as they were sharing all this stuff and these pictures and everything, I actually have people on my staff that are survivors of violent attacks and stuff like that I'm asking them to go online and do social media stuff for me and everything like that, and they're kind of getting traumatized because we're getting tagged in these attacks, and they're saying, look, I know that this guy hates you, we can write him off, and he's kind of like a nobody, but you know what I mean? Even the people who do follow him are like, wow, that's just him, he's just a jerk. He's got cool snakes though, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, they're saying I can't do this. I literally can't go there. This is like hashing up stuff with me. And I kind of, that little dad vibe or whatever was like, you know what I mean? And so I was like, that's it. So we made a whole live stream. I'm like, sorry guys, this is a snake channel, but tonight it's about domestic violence awareness. We raised a whole bunch of money for literally like where the guy was in his town. I called some friends that live there and I asked them about the specific nonprofit organization that helps women in that specific town where the guy lives, called Bright Horizons. A lot of people, I'm sure some of the people that are in your chat right now were like donating, super chatting. We matched all the donations and stuff, made a big donation, and they wrote us a cute little like thank you letter or whatever. Like that was, they didn't know who we were, you know what I mean? Just got a bunch of money. And I was like, oh, I'm a snake guy, so think of the reptile community like this, and they're like, oh, wow, that was weird, but trying to put a good word out there for the snake community and reptile keeping community doing good stuff. Anyways, I don't think he meant any of those attacks towards my staff, but they were affected by it. Well, this week, the guy is all over online right now, literally targeting my staff, taking screenshots of like, Thomas, he's our video editor, you know what I mean? Or Hadley she does our education stuff with kids and things like, they're like the sweetest people. They don't have anything to do with anything. Rob, G.I. Joe, all of them. And they're making like derogatory memes and sharing it everywhere. And it's, like I said, I mean, I've been getting hounded by this guy forever, and obviously it's like no fun. And I think people know that he's a piece of work, when it comes to it, but nobody likes to argue with him, and it doesn't really get anywhere or whatever. But he's definitely creating a lot of toxicity in our life, and he's making it very difficult for my staff to enjoy coming in and doing their jobs. We'd have a whole meeting this morning about staying positive and how do we do this kind of stuff and what's the line for like what they're allowed to do or not allowed to do professionally with the company versus what actions can they take personally. And, I'm kind of disconnected for that because it's becoming personal attacks and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that, just because somebody would hate me would attack, like just sweet people in my staff, and they make false accusations. Like Rob does a very good job of breeding all our snakes, taking care of them. You know what I mean? He's very in tune with the animals, does awesome stuff like that. And then his husbandry practices get put into work as, his morality, saying like, I run a puppy mill, stuff like, just crazy stuff like that. So that's a bummer. It's actually all just kind of happening yesterday and today. So I didn't even know what I was going to do about it. Didn't plan for my, public response or whatever to be here. So I don't think I'll even really get into it or whatever. But I will say this. I think there are too many times, like I love to learn. I'm talking a lot here. Do you want to say something, Brian? You want to break it up for attention, or audience retention value? Are you guys hanging with me? Are we doing okay here?
Sure, I'll break it up for you. I mean, because we're about 5 minutes left. That's the one thing, I mean, about the way I'm going to do these streams. I'm going to format them so we do 30 minutes and 30 minutes only, just for the sake of our guests' time and my time, and the fact that we're going to the Zoom call afterwards. So,
well, we're going to jump in with your Patreon after this, right?
Yeah, we'll jump in. Yeah,
cool.
we'll jump in 5 minutes here. And for the last 5 minutes, I would like to give it up to chat to ask any questions anybody might have real quick, and whichever ones we can get to before we jump over to the Zoom call, then we could do that. So I'll just break it up there. I just want to say I'm sorry you're going through that, and that was not the plan. I had no idea that was like at reaching some kind of peak when this happened. I was having my own stuff happen, and I was like, I just kind of want to just talk about with my friend Garrett, because you're always so good at redirecting stuff like that and turning it into a positive as much as it can eat you away inside, which is something I do a lot, instead of like reacting to people negatively and like, oh, I can only imagine if I was the type of person that was like animus like that or had animosity, I would probably have killed a lot of people at this point. Rather, I was like, well, how can we like be friends instead? Can we just like figure out how we can be friends instead? That would be so much better. I'd much prefer that. I
actually called the guy like, I don't know, a couple months ago or something, talked to him for hours. I was like, we don't even have to agree on stuff. You know what I mean? Just to be civil or whatever. But all I was going to say is that sometimes it feels like the world is coming down on you from a creator standpoint, even if it might be like one person going crazy. And I'm used to it. So it really isn't bothering me. I wouldn't even address it. But the staff is not. And so, yeah, if you guys know any of my staff and you see people badmouth and reach out reptiles or those guys online, them seeing like verbal support, you know what I mean? Saying, nope, they're not like that. You're wrong. That kind of thing, just kind of putting the cyber bullies in their place. It means a lot to them because it's good to feel like somebody has your back. And that's going to be my job for them right now. One thing we expressed in the meeting, as a boss, I've got to have their back. So we got to figure out, what to do with that kind of stuff, because you're going too far crossing the line if you do that kind of stuff. So, but.
Yep, I hear you, bro. Well, there's live chat. I did this whole thing here to like make the live chat pop up on the screen for us. So I figure I should at least have it there for a couple of seconds before we get out of here. If anybody has something they want to ask real quick before we get out of here, then that would be great. If not, that's fine too. We're going to head into our Zoom call in just a minute. Yeah. I would jump in here. You talk too much, Garrett. I don't know what to say about it. You just talk too much. We didn't get in here fast enough.
Sorry.
It was
all that sitting around in the beginning you didn't do, where you didn't know you were live streaming.
Oh, it's all gravy, man. That's true. I was doofing around too much, making a fool of myself. It's pretty standard, par for the course. It's all good. Well, shoot, man. I'm gonna say goodnight to these folks, and then I'll meet you in the. This is perfect. Midnight Musings. No questions, just love. Nothing to question.
Yep.
Sounds great.
I appreciate your guys' support, even here in the chat. That's awesome. Means a lot. Yeah, go show some to our staff. Comment on YouTube videos, jump on their social media and stuff. I think they could, use a little lifting up right now, because it's getting to them. So
yeah, we'll do that, brother. Well, shoot, I'll see you backstage in just a moment. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, where am I on here? I suppose I should be here somewhere, right? There I am. Thank you guys for tuning in for the first live stream back here on triplebtv. As Garrett mentioned, if you guys could go out there and give him support. I mean, Garrett's such a great dude. Any of you guys that know him, It boggles my mind if people try to attack his character, just because I know him so well, and the things that he does for people that he never asked for any kind of recognition for whatsoever. He's always trying to help people and make the world a better place in what small way he can. And so it was just random that we talked about that tonight. I was like, oh, let's talk about drama industry. I was going through my own thing, and that's just what came up. But so if you guys go support him, thank you guys for all your super chats tonight. On the streams going forward, I'll make a better job of like jumping over to live chat so we can actually show them on this screen. But they do play back in the actual chat afterwards if you're watching it after the fact. So that happens as well. But thank you guys for tuning in. As I mentioned, we'll be going right here to the Zoom call afterwards. If we don't see you in the Zoom call afterwards, there's a link down in the description to join us. But if we don't see you there, then we'll see you next week right back here on triplebtv. In the meantime, y'all take care.